Hey, everybody, this is Mandy Ray with Ecstatic Astrology, here to give you a weekly update for August 30th, 2021 through September 5th. This is like the third time I've done this. It's okay. It's very reflective of the astrology. I just need to take a deep breath. I hope you did that while I did that. Okay, let's dig in. I'm going to get my notes out. I made notes. Sometimes I confuse myself, but I'm going to go ahead and open the notes with the chart so that I don't trip over my words 100 billion times like I just did in the previous try. All right, let's talk about Monday. That's today when I'm recording this. The sun's in Virgo. The moon is in Gemini. And what we've just had is the third quarter square of the moon. With the moon phases, you have a new moon. And then when it's half, it's the first quarter square, the first adjustment from the new moon. Then it's full. Then you have the third quarter square, which is the last adjustment. It's sort of like the polishing, the cleaning up. Okay. With this particular third quarter square, which was exact at, it was overnight while we were sleeping. It also is very special because it is square the nodes as well. So let me explain this. The sun is at 7 degrees of Virgo in a square with the north node at 6 degrees of Gemini and the south node at 6 degrees of Sagittarius. So this is tied into the eclipses. So not only was it the third quarter square of the regular moon phase, it was also a square to the nodes. So this is basically the midpoint of eclipse season. You can kind of look at it that way. It's called the bendings. How does that sound? Okay. This has a lot to do with wanting to get it right. That's what the sun in Virgo wants to do. Mars is also in Virgo. Getting it right, discernment, pruning, planning, organizing. Those are all Virgo words. Healing. So this third quarter square of the moon in Gemini with the north node is like, we've learned some new things. We need to apply them. That's all that it is. So yeah, like I said, all the time that I talk about the moon, it's brief. Moon transits are brief, but they're big. The lunar calendar is something that I like to live by. They really show these transits. Just a brief moment of feeling this way or that way can be explained, validated, whatever you want to say, by these astrological transits. So this has a lot to do with destiny and fate. The things you think, plan, do right now, the feelings you had, the dreams you had overnight has a lot to do with our fate and, destiny. They're two different things. And then, I think to a certain extent with Mars, our free will, that's ultimately how we deal with the fateful events is ultimately what makes up the story of our lives, South Node Sagittarius. Okay. So that's Monday. Monday night, the moon trines Venus. So that's pretty nice. So hopefully Monday night will feel really good. Okay. Now, the other thing is Monday, actually, it happened last night, I do believe, but Mercury's in Libra. It's just moved there. This is important because Libra is where Mercury will go retrograde, and that's exact on September 27th when it turns retrograde. So the first 10 degrees of Libra, it's not in shadow, but by the time it reaches 10 degrees of Libra, it'll be in shadow of the retrograde. So while Mercury is in the very beginnings of Libra, it's a really good chance to take the gifts of Libra Mercury, which is learning how to balance things, learning how to communicate fairly, especially in regards to relationships. So do all of that right now. Okay, because soon Mercury will be in shadow of retrograde. In fact, that happens, I do believe, right after the new moon next Tuesday. So after Labor Day. So right now, this week, we can really take advantage of communicating the things we need to communicate with our loved ones, our friends, our partners, that sort of thing. All right. So Tuesday morning, the moon squares Neptune. And this is really going to kick off the feeling of Mars opposite Neptune, which is going to dominate the week, I think. Okay, Mars is in Virgo. We just talked about this, wanting to get it right, really being busy, I think. It could be anxiety, worry. I mean, Mars in Virgo has a lot of different ways of showing itself. But on Tuesday, we get the moon also squaring Mars and Neptune. It's called a T square. It's a pretty tense aspect. The moon in Gemini wants to understand. Mars in Virgo wants to get it right. Neptune in Pisces is like, here's a little confusion. Here's a little inspiration that makes you change your mind, right? It could come either way. Here's a, message from spirit. Lots of different options. So if you're feeling confused, not knowing how to direct your energy, not feeling like directing your energy anywhere. Mars opposite Neptune can be laziness. Is it laziness or does it mean you need to take a nap? I don't know. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, even into Friday, I think, but definitely Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is dominated by this Mars opposing Neptune. It's kind of like, I don't know which way to go. I need to pause and receive some messages first. And those could come through other people with Mercury and Libra. What else is happening Tuesday? The moon trines Jupiter right after it squares Neptune. That's going to be more evening. So it's square. I'll say this: the moon squares Neptune and Mars really starts Tuesday morning early, like when you wake up. So if it's hard to wake up, that might be a reason. If you're feeling anxious that day, just remember that's kind of part of the energy going on, and do what you can to take care of yourself. Um, You may also have people acting on delusion around this time. That's just, I feel like I need to give that message. Uh, it's just something that I'm watching anyway. Jupiter Neptune conjunction next year really has implications of delusions, fantasies, rose colored glasses, confusion, um, secrets to a certain extent, but it's more like deception. So just be aware of that, especially Tuesday morning as you wake up. If it feels weird, that's why. Um, so then it trines Jupiter by about the afternoon. And that's big feels, okay? Especially with the moon in Gemini, it's going to be more, it's less like emotion and more air with the moon in Gemini. It's thinking. So you may be really thinking hard philosophically about something. All right. So let's go into Wednesday. This will be Wednesday, where's my calendar? Because I can't keep up with dates. Wednesday, September 1st is what I'm talking about here. All right. So we wake up with the moon in Cancer. It moves into Cancer overnight. Moon in Cancer is extra emotion. It's our emotional nature, our emotional security, nurturing. It's the movement of feeling. It's cardinal water. And the moon is at home in Cancer. So it can be a bit sensitive when the moon's in Cancer anyway. We also have Chiron in Aries, which it will square, and then also Pluto in Capricorn, which will oppose. So I would think with the moon in Cancer, the first thing that happens is it squares Mercury. This is like Wednesday overnight, honestly. I don't think we wake up with it square Mercury. I'm wrong. We do. Wednesday morning, the moon squares Mercury right off the bat. So that's a brief moment, but it can be a little annoying because it's like we may feel one way, but because Mercury is in Libra, we really need to communicate peace. And so those things don't generally jive. It's like what wins out, Mercury or the moon? Do our feelings win? Or does this I want to keep the peace, I want to communicate love and compassion win? So just be aware of that with that Wednesday morning wake up call. And it may be a wake up call. And then, of course, we still have Mars opposite Neptune. So that still stands. This may be feeling like I don't know how to direct my energy. I think that's the best way to put it. The moon in Cancer will inform that a little more. Like let yourself feel. Okay. I think that's very important. Trying to make sure that's the biggest story. I think it's the biggest story of Wednesday. On Wednesday night, the moon gets closer to squaring Chiron. So healing, but also sensitivity. And I think that's going to be the name of the game for Wednesday. A very sensitive, watery day. And if you can escape into self-care, do it. Take a bath that night. That will be a good idea. Okay. Thursday. Thursday gets really interesting. And this is what I was leading up to. So Thursday morning, we wake up with the moon sextile Uranus. It's around sunrise. That's really opportunistic. I think it's like um, feeling into maybe some value shifts that we've got going on. Could be relationship shifts, but they're supporting each other. Mars is still opposed to Neptune. In fact, it's coming into an exact opposition that day. I find that the lead up to these transits is way more noticeable than the actual. Once it happens, it's like the pressure's released a little bit. So this Mars opposite Neptune probably hits its height like Wednesday evening into Thursday morning. Okay. And then Thursday afternoon, trying to see what time. Yeah. The moon comes into a square with Venus. That's not so terrible. Venus is a benefic. So it's not like um a bad thing to watch out for, but it's more of something to pay attention to, your feelings, your needs versus how we balance relationships. That's the major thing. And just after that, so that's around 4 p.m. that the moon squares Venus. And just after like 5, 6 p.m., 7 p.m., the moon trines Neptune. The moon trine Neptune is really a moment where you can get some inspiration, listen. It's all of those things I was talking about with Mars opposite Neptune. But the moon in Cancer trine Neptune in Pisces is very much like I feel like I hear what you're trying to tell me, universe. That means the moon also sextiles Mars at the exact same time. So yeah, Thursday is really interesting. The other thing is Mercury trines the North Node Thursday. And that happens actually pretty quick. Mercury's moving pretty fast, I think. So what is that? Yeah, I would say that it's active, even though it's like a degree Thursday. Saturn is also at play with this Mercury on Thursday. Mercury trine Saturn. Saturn's at 8 degrees. Mercury's at 5 Thursday night. So you're talking just a 3-degree difference. This makes connections with the nodes. It's called a kite. Um, so Thursday night leading into Friday morning, Mercury is really tapping into some stuff. I would definitely take advantage of this energy to get really clear with people, especially relationship. If you have to do any communication, this is the time to do it. If you want to write, this is the time to do it. Mercury trine Saturn really indicates understanding how to build in its simplest form. Friday. Let's talk about Friday. Venus Day, Frias Day. All right. So Saturn moves to 7 degrees. Yeah. Mercury is definitely applying to that Saturn trine. The moon, when we wake up, is at late degrees of Cancer opposing Pluto. It's really overnight in Birmingham. I'm doing this from Central Time. So you're talking we're asleep when the moon opposes Pluto, which would be an intense moment. But because we're sleeping, maybe not so much. So I think I'm kind of happy about that. But that means later in the morning, so like around 11 a.m., the moon moves into Leo. This is important because this activates all the fixed signs. Okay. By the way, Mars is moving off of that opposition to Neptune by this time. So that's good. So, like, we may feel like we have a little more energy, but it's twofold. Like, it's two sides to a coin because we're also moving into new moon territory. So, you're talking about the moon's moving darker. So, energy could be hit and miss, like feeling motivation this week. Please do not be hard on yourself if you're not super motivated. It's simple, like astrological math. Okay. So when the moon moves into Leo, we're immediately applying to an opposition with Saturn. So this is around 11 a.m. So Saturn's in Aquarius, building the world for the greater good, innovating our structures, deciding what works for us and what doesn't in regards to large groups of people. So, maybe also Saturn in Aquarius is reflective of mask mandates and all of that. Saturn in Aquarius. Okay. The moon in Leo really just wants to be in its childlike play. Okay. It feels into the inner child stuff. So that's going to be not super fun. Moon applying to an opposition with Saturn feels like you're being oppressed a little bit. So that's something to note. That's exact overnight, I think, into Saturday. Yeah, it's exact overnight. So that means Friday, you'll feel it the most. But at the same time, Mercury is trining Saturn. So if you're feeling oppressed, maybe think about how you can balance this out for yourself. It could be just talking it out with somebody. Mercury in Libra really wants to communicate. That's important. The other part of this too is that it makes a mystical envelope with Mercury in Libra at the very point of it. Sounds crazy, does it? A mystical envelope, but it does. It looks like an envelope the way they're connected. So that's something to note. The other thing about Friday that could start to make it tense is that Venus is applying to a square with Pluto and Mars is applying to a trine with Pluto. So the weekend almost gets like dun dun dun. And we decide what we're not going to take anymore. We decide if things aren't working out in a relationship that we're done with it. Mars trine Pluto understands how we need to act, especially in regards to our own authority. That means who we need to cut out of our lives, especially with Venus also being in the mix. So this begins Friday. And I say that because Mars is at 22 degrees of Virgo. Venus is at 22 degrees of Libra. Pluto's at 24 degrees of Capricorn. Okay. So it's very close starting Friday. What else did I make notes for? My advice is to really open up and talk to people. I think that's going to be the best way to handle this energy. If things feel tense Friday, it's because we're really deciding how to be in our power. That's not a small order, right? Like that's a big thing to tackle. Venus square Pluto, Mars trine Pluto, you know, Friday just looks like ugh, moon applying to an opposition with Saturn. And our best bet is Mercury right now. Mercury will be sextile the moon Friday night. It will be sextile the south node. It will be trine Saturn. So we have to think in regards to how I always say Mercury in Libra wants to think about how to keep the peace, but you have to communicate in order to do that. This will bring a lot of clarity to what will last. And I think it's an important thing to note on Friday. Okay, so Saturday, and I do think the weekend will be fairly relationship heavy because of this. Saturday morning, moon's still in Leo, trines Chiron. Okay. And it also trines the asteroid Juno, which Juno is about commitment and relationships. So let's just think, for a minute, we may have felt kind of tense on Friday. Maybe we wake up on Saturday with a desire to heal, a desire to let go of some things. But remember to be in your truth. You have to communicate who you are. You have to communicate your desires to people. I think that's very important. And Saturday, it's the weekend, right? It's like whatever, but it's important. The moon also squares Uranus Saturday at noon. And so that's going to be Moon square Uranus can be a shakeup emotionally. I'm just going to say that. Okay. Uranus and Taurus is like upheaval. It's trying to shift your values. Uranus is unpredictable. The moon transits are very brief. Okay. But I'm just looking at how the moon was trine Chiron, the moon was trine Juno. Venus is square to Pluto almost. Mars is trine to Pluto almost. And so I'm looking at this like Saturday could be very formative. That's all I'm going to say. And I would expect if there's anything that's going to surprise you, that's going to come probably Saturday. Also, the sun is getting very close to trining Uranus. That happens at the new moon. Okay, let's see about Saturday night. Yeah, I think we're still hanging in there. All right, so Sunday morning, moon still in Leo. And in fact, it's opposing Jupiter. Big feelings. So yeah, that's just really confirming the fact that I think this weekend is going to be I don't want to say intense because I don't want to write that into reality and have anyone scared or anything, but big feelings about what you want versus what's good for the whole, whether that be your relationship, your friendships, whatever. It's really about what I need, what I want versus what I have to do to make it work with others. Jupiter in Aquarius is the bigger picture. Moon in Leo is my needs, my inner child. So when those oppose, it could just be big feelings. So what I'm hoping is that you guys stay in your truth, stay in your heart. I think that's just the best advice I can give. Stay in your heart. Communicate honestly. This is not the time to mince words, but it's also not the time to lash out. Mars trine Pluto may bring that. People are going to be Mars and Virgo's nitpicky as it is, and then Pluto and Capricorn is about authority and power. And when those two things get together, it's very hard to say, but I think people can lash out with that, especially with Venus squaring Pluto. So this weekend is pretty intense. I think that's just the best way to put it. So the other story is that the sun is applying to that. By the way, the moon opposes Jupiter, Sunday morning as we wake up, but it moves into Virgo Sunday night, and then we're in new moon territory. Mars is exactly trine Pluto at Sunday. Venus is exactly square Pluto by degree on Sunday. So Sunday is the height of it. In fact, Saturday is the build up. Sunday is maybe the release Sunday night. So next week, we start off with a new moon Monday, and it's going to be trine Uranus. And a lot of things are going to change. This is going to be a very formative month for people. So I would really pay attention to the events that are happening this weekend. Okay. What you decide works for you and what doesn't. And you're going to have moments that tell you that, especially in regards to relationships, and then groups of people, friend groups, authority, rules, boundaries, like all of these words. In fact, there's just like most of the signs have something going on. The only things that don't are like Scorpio right now, but that's about to change. So it's really a lot of mixed energy, but a lot of, I think this is what I can handle and this is what I can't, and you'll know that. Really tap into that moon and Cancer time, because that's going to be a time when you can, I think, chill out, self-care. This is why the Mars opposition to Neptune is going to be important. Even though it feels like lack of motivation, I think we need rest for that Mars trine Pluto, because Mars trine Pluto is going to invite us to our own tower card moment, but it's like we want it with the Mars trine Pluto and Venus square Pluto. Relationships, we'll see. Either you're going to be able to count on it or not past this. Like Venus square Pluto is very sure in terms of relationships. Okay. If someone's trying to exert power over you, not going to be cool past this weekend. That includes business relationships. Okay. Like we're not talking about just romantic. And friendships. Like if anyone is bullying you, Mars trine Pluto, Venus square Pluto, Saturday, Sunday is going to be like, I've had enough, period. And then new moon Monday. And the other thing that I told you I'd tell you is that I believe Monday night is when Mercury enters retrograde shadow, and that's new moon territory as well. This new moon's going to be very shifty. I think it's going to start a cascade of events this weekend and Monday, in terms of really pursuing freedom in your life, really shifting things according to the way your values have changed. You're going to get real clear on if people work or not in your life, the people that you can handle or not, and just get really, really honest leading up to this. I mean, honesty is the best policy this week, especially if you want to avoid a very intense Mars trine Pluto, Venus square Pluto. Continue to talk about what you need, continue to talk about who you are, continue to do that. It's very important. I'll be back with a new moon report, but I've brought you through till Monday. Just know that Monday is the new moon, and it's going to, at what you do Monday, I think the things that happen Monday and even Sunday night are going to determine a lot of this fall. So we'll talk more about it. We'll talk more about it. Maybe I'll do this from the woods Saturday. We'll see. Be out of town this weekend. Be in the woods because I see what's coming. Stand in your truth, communicate, be honest. That's your best bet through this week. All right, guys. All my love. I got to run. I'll talk to you soon. Always like, subscribe, comment. It really helps the algorithms.